right, what's up everybody? I think you can see the Bitcoin chart. I think you can hear me. Everything is looking just as we expected out there. Looks like there's 6 of you here and we have currently 3 likes. Let's see if we can smash up that like button, guys. Get it up to 10. Let's get some people in here watching. Let's all give ourselves something to talk about. And let's get to the point of why we're all here, right? That is to find out, is the top end for Bitcoin? What possible scenarios could we be looking at to the downside? And how could the retracements to the upside affect our altcoin holdings, right? I think that's what we're all here for. So let's go ahead. First, we're going to cover Bitcoin today, followed by Ethereum, and then your altcoin requests. Where's everybody? Give me some hopium. Yeah, I wish, man. I will do my best. I can tell you that the fear is here. The fear is present, right? People are very scared to buy anything right now, but still, I would say there's a little eagerness from what I see out there in hopium. I think that depending on how Bitcoin forms this local low coming up, it will tell us a lot moving forward, right? So, I gotta post this. I apologize. Let everybody know the stream's running. All right, we're good. So if you have friends out there in the world of crypto, let them know, we're doing the stream right now. Get them in here. My house is quite busy right now. I have all the kids home doing homeschool, and but we'll hopefully not be interfered by any lags or anything. So I put out a new Bitcoin video yesterday, my evening time, breaking down the possible paths to the downside, and I think we can discuss those now, okay? I like to delete everything, and we'll start from there, just so that we all have kind of the same understanding of where this ship is going, okay? All right, I'm going to work my way through this slowly, because I think it's imperative. Now, there's a count. You can see this is good enough for right now. We can kind of see what's going on, but it gets a little blurry. It's better when we can see the candles and see what we're working with, so always do that. Out in the world of crypto, you're seeing a lot of folks tell you that Bitcoin is an expanded B wave, which was really probable at that point because of the 3-wave motion up, right? Now, that's if you're counting it this way. You could also count this as a low, and this is the final 5th of the cycle. And that's what I've drifted over to because of the price action that we're seeing down. But let's go ahead and cover that now. So if we place an extension from the high to the low to the high in a traditional 3-swing setup, and we look for an expansion of an ABC, most typical thing to see is that the C leg takes the low of the A leg, like this did here, in a 5-wave motion, right? This would have been beautiful if it held here. Your ABC idea would make a whole lot of sense at that point. But when you got a big 3-wave retrace that happened really quickly, it was shallow, it was very 3-wave-esque, and then it broke down again. We knew this low was going to get taken. It's something that we were covering in the Discord. Quite in depth, but say again you want to move this and you're like, oh my godness, the extended C leg has just got it again. It comes to 1.618. This is still probable in Elliott Wave, an expanded flat ABC. After this, we start to get just hope on the table, right? And this becomes very low probability. So I've moved away from that. And then the next thing that I think everybody wanted to consider, I wanted to consider, was the possibility that this is some sort of 3-wave shapes, all of this resulting in what would be an ending diagonal, right? Now, you lost your 3-wave shape here. This is something I talked about in that video. In this leg, and we were talking about it in the Discord, and I was talking to it about with my friends in Mexico while we were on vacation. And I think this is why people were able to get into the shorts here and ride them down to this level. So if we're not considering the expansion anymore, we have to ask ourselves, what do we think's going on to the downside, right? Because we're obviously getting a 5-wave motion. And where I was going with that is an ending diagonal, right? So an ending diagonal in a C wave has to be all 3-wave motions. There's no 5-wave individual move within this, right? This is wave 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. You can bullshit your way into that here and here, but this ain't cutting the cheese. You know what I mean? So we're out on that. The other way a C wave could have been made, which we covered in the videos, with regular displacement between the 1, the high of the 1, and the low of the 4. Right? We didn't get that either. So we have to consider other things. More probable could be 1 into 2, and a 5-wave motion into 1 into 2, which I covered in the video, and another 5-wave motion, and a 1 into a 2. Now, that means after that last correction here, and not taking these highs out, and keeping a correction smaller than this, when we make this guy in time, means the next leg will be very displacing to the downside, creating a lot of full-bodied red candles. So like you have displacement here in your chart with the full-bodied candles, you would be getting that again, right? So this is something to be aware of. The next thing I want you to do on your chart is to place a base channel from high to this high, not this one, because this is the high of the pivot in that Elliott wave count, and then to the low. This will show us that we're getting great reactions at the center line after our 3 points of connection, right? So this is the biggest thing about channels, is 3 points of connection with amazing center line reactions after, right? Now, here again, more center line reactions. This is hypercritical to understand. This is a base channel in Jeffrey Kennedy's Elliott wave systems, and they work well together. If price action leaves the base channel with displacement and trends on it, prepare for more blood. Yes? Meaning that the 1-2 stacking that we talked about will finally come into play. So wave 1 into 2 on that macro, looking eventually for 3, 4, and 5. Okay? And that means that each successive set here is likely another 1 into 2, 3, 4, and 5. We will adjust the colors and counts here as we go. I hope everybody's doing okay out there. The markets are rough. Something we did in the Discord is we continuously stayed focused on the fact that the trend was to the downside. I was not yelling out loud, buy the dip, buy the dip, buy the dip. Right? We had very few altcoins that we were looking at with invalidation points, and I think capital preservation during stages like this is hypercritical and the biggest thing that we need to be trying to have as a takeaway. All right, so let's look for this to happen. Now, the warning sign, we covered this in that video of how this will happen, is you want each successive 1-2 to get smaller. All right, so if we measure with a trend-based fib extension, this leg of 3, or excuse me, this 5-wave motion to the downside, and we compare it with this 5-wave motion to the downside, they become exactly the same size as each other. Let me make sure I'm on the right scale. Yes, logarithmic. They become exactly the same size as each other when they hit the 1-to-1. So this is something to understand in Elliott wave. Now, as soon as that leg becomes larger, that kind of negates or cuts back the probability of this being another 1-2 stacking and opens the door to that displacement that we're talking to, and finally us getting some follow through. Okay? And that follow through would take this down to a minimum 1.618 extension. Okay? This is something to be aware of, right? If you start to get the displacement, the cycle top is in. This is you forming 5 waves to the low if you lose 91,315. Now, I want you to be aware of that. That's probably the most bearish way this could kick off, right? So you would get a really deep 3, and then eventually a 4. This guy would move here. 3, 4, 5. Yes, we need you. Boom. And then you would get a 4 again. and then another 5. So you would get some chop here that broadens, and then a final deep fifth, right? It would likely be that time where you see that market structure break around the 76K. Everybody's shouting to the moon about some Bitcoin CME gap. Let's go see where that's at. Oh, look at looky. We have it on our chart. Now, see, I too want this. I wanted this to be that ABC expanded flat. But we have to change when we get this, right? When we get past 1.618. Again, I don't come with prefixed charts to make myself feel good. You're going to get them right and wrong. That's the CME gap everybody's on about. You're sitting right above it. Let's step in there. Let's see what we do in that zone. So far, you've just dipped the tip in to see how it feels. The 50% zone is around 92.45. And the low of that gap comes in around... Pop. Eventually my mouse gets there. I apologize. 91.970. These CME gaps are often refilled, possibly due to the liquidity and usually due to the volatility of this asset. But again, like we talked about, the math is what matters, right? Just the tip. I'm happy you like that joke. Don't tell human resources. They'll get us fired. But yeah, so... this is going to be critical, this 91.315 level. The other way that we could look at this, and really quick, let's just delete everything and start over, is the what if of a leading diagonal, right? So what if this is wave 1, wave 2, wave 3, wave 4, and wave 5 in a leading diagonal? That 91K level is still hypercritical because... you don't want wave 5 to get bigger than wave 3 in the diagonal scenario. That comes in around 91.368. As you can see, we're starting to get a little bit more blood on it now. So let's really stay focused on the channel. Let's really stay focused on the math. I think understanding the validation and invalidation points can save you on Bitcoin. And Bitcoin's going to guide everything else, right? So understanding Bitcoin's price cycle was really critical in this cycle. To understand how Bitcoin dominance associated with Bitcoin's price will affect your altcoins is really important to understand, right? So everybody always wants to go on and on about it, and they're checking this thing on the hourly, on the 4-hour. Man, get real, right? Zoom out. This is a dominance chart. Let's just zoom out on this guy. Let's see what the weekly does, right? So far, it's starting to come up a little bit on this weekly while Bitcoin's price is going down. So if the dominance is going up while the price is going down, you can assume that your altcoins are going to get punished harder, right? Against Bitcoin's dominance. A lot of times this is happening because your savvy investor knows my punishment here, the pain in Bitcoin, will be less percentage-wise than if I go sit in my top 20 shit list, right? The pain will be less here. So that's something to stay focused on. So we have the 1-2 scenario. We have the leading diagonal scenario. These are the things to be focused on. If we break this, we're going to talk about that bigger displacement that we charted earlier on in the video. All right, now, let's say this makes a leading diagonal. Somehow it fucking holds the one line. Maybe it wicks out to get its tip with some liquidity. But overall, after a diagonal, the most common thing to see happen in Elliott Wave is a retracement of 78.6% per the book, right? So that means we come all the way up here and we make a B wave, right? Or a 2. Now, this 5 waves becomes either a wave 1 into a wave 2, which after cycles top, Bitcoin likes to typically retrace up in a manner where it comes up, battles the 0.236, falls back, comes up. It kind of will battle with this zone here, 702. We might see a pullback and a push for the 786. We'll have to see how this works out. It's not drawn to scale. But this chop often will happen where it comes up to 618, falls back, battles the 702, and this is a divergence. Something we'll be looking for. The divergences on volume and RSI will tell us a lot about this move. Now, if this is 5 down in wave 1, and this makes a wave 2, or this is 5 down in a wave A, and this makes a B. Either way doesn't matter, right? Because both are going to be a corrective retracement of some sorts. Most of the time, if that's the cycle top, the B wave will come up in 3 waves like this. Now be aware, you can make a new high into these zones as an expanded B wave. But if this is a diagonal, you likely aren't going to see that, right? That you will only get this deep retracement to the 786. I would like to side with this as either 1-2 stacking or a diagonal to the downside. I would say those are the most probable things to be looking for. I apologize if we had a little glitch in the screen there. I have 2 kids on homeschool right now, so it's quite busy. But this is basically everything over Bitcoin. Now, when Bitcoin makes this retracement, if its price is going up while its dominance is going down, what you could see there, excuse my click of my fat fingers, what you could see there is an opportunity for a lot of these altcoins to give you a chance to de-risk, okay? And that will be really big to understand. All right. So that's everything over Bitcoin so far. We still got 12 people here, everybody. Thank you for coming by. Slash up the like button if you get a chance. And let's move into Ethereum. And then after Ethereum, we'll move into your altcoins. Okay, everybody? Let's see who all we got here and say hi. What's up, Addy? What's up, Liam? Roar still here. We're going to cover Roar today for you, my friend. Chazza Purcell, nice to see you again. Looking forward to this one. And we will cover XRP and VELO both. The VELO chart is something we've been watching a lot in the Discord. XRP I've kind of let go. It's gotten a little muddy, but we'll cover it together. For sure, Andy Lawson, we will be covering FARTBOY. Thank you for that. All right, so far, the next things we're going to put down is XRP. Let me write these while we're going just so I don't forget them. And VELO and FARTBOY. That should be an exciting chart. I've been watching it, hoping it just picks up some steam here. Happy wants some hopium. I don't know if I got that. At least the fear down your legs is warm, Happy, right? Nameless Monster, what's up? Nice to see you again. What's up, Jamie? Sorry, everybody. I'm also sick. I have a horrible cold, fever, jammed up sinuses. I do not feel good, but we're still here. What's up, Camilla? How have you been? Amazing wants me to cover XVG. Sure, let me write that down. Is this XVG, is this something on a DEX screener, or is this something that I can cover on TradingView? If so, which exchange would you like it covered on? All right, channels and Fibs are king. They're legit. What's up, Delta? How are you? What's up, B? I'm happy to see you here listening. Everybody hit that like button if you get a chance. Really helps the stream get seen, as well as the silly little chat emojis that you see, and also chatting. Helps other people come to the stream, helps it get seen. So what's up, Angel? Nice to see you here. Hope you're doing well. The piss is cooling off fast. That's hilarious. All right, let me erase some of these noob marks, and let's move into Ethereum. If you want more help covering these things in depth so you're not missing any of the moves, go ahead, check out the Discord. It's in the link in the bio. Come by, hang out with us, see what's up. Now, this is something that I was super honest about when I thought our opportunity on Ethereum had ended, okay? You can see I have a 3-wave move drawn on my chart. The reason why is because no matter how we split this guy, the math isn't mathing for much more, right? So on logarithmic, you can see an ABC that only makes it to the 1 through 1.236 zone. The next thing that we see after that, whether you go here or here, I really don't care, and you try to bullshit this, it doesn't really change anything. So don't get yourself in a panties in a twist here. The other way to look at this would be an ABC that went to the upside, finished at the 1.618. The hopium that I had with my bags, and I like to be honest, was that this was wave 1 into 2. I bought the majority of my Ethereum around 13 to 1700. I was hoping this was a wave 3, and we were going into a wave 4 and looking for a wave 5. When this did not work out, I had to leave my bags. I didn't make as much money as I wanted to on them, but it's good. I preserved a lot of capital. This was the day that I left my Ethereum bags, and everything else was October 10th. I made that announcement in the Discord about how serious I was. I emptied my ledger, everything. So now we're looking for downside. So now, since that achieved an ABC to the upside, the most critical thing to be watching now is how price action comes down and reacts with the supports of the known trend. So we can see this amazing support at the 236. Look at these reactions. Amazing support at the 382. Look at these reactions. Again, the 0.5. What do you think is the most probable thing to happen here, guys? A 618, a 702. Does it hold the 786? If not, the next thing is to take this pivot, right? And that is kind of where my mind goes when I start to see this arcing to the downside. It gets me to thinking, you know, we're going to get a lot more displacement, right? This arcing here makes me think we get a lot more displacement. So I'm just going to stay aware and keep watching and amazed by how they can linger this thing on. But right now I'm not looking to collect Ethereum, right? I'm just going to continue to watch it from the sidelines. Nothing is forming a reversal point. So why are you so eager to buy it, right? And if our next known supports are in that 2,500 range, why are you getting so excited? Let's wait for this and wait to see, do we get any sort of reversal? But I'll tell you, subjectively, the arcing often leads to displacement to the downside, which leads to a lot of blood, okay? So that's all I have for Ethereum. In my opinion, I think possibly sweeping the lows of these liquidity might be what we're going for. I would hate to try to say, you know, this is a corrective motion you're going to see here. I would hate to see a $1,000 Ethereum, but I'm very open to $1,000, if not down a little bit lower to around 693. I'm just going to keep watching it, though, because I think the chart will tell you more in time. All right, let me check, see if we have any more altcoins coming in. We got 10 likes. Thank you guys so much. All right, sorry I'm sick, but we're still going. So XVG is on TradingView, and the crypto chart has the most history. Let me write that down. Thank you for letting me know that. All right. Got that written down. Let me make sure. Yeah, the arcing on a lot of these altcoins should pop you off. All right. Let's keep going. I have the few altcoins that we have. I have those written down so far. We're going to go over XRP, VELO, FARTBOY, and XVG. I have nothing else so far. Oh, link charts for Jamie. Don't want to miss that. Sorry about that. Let me get link in there also. Link is something that we covered in the last stream and in the Discord, where we talked about that possibly going down to even $10 or lower. It's something to be aware of. Sorry, my dog came in. He's a big giant pain in the ass. All right, so we're all here now. Oh, you want ICP? Oh, good. Another shitcoin quality token. We'll go over that one. All right, so let's do the first things first. Is going to be XRP. Now, I think let me go to an older chart. This is about the oldest I think I can drum up. If we were hopeful, make sure I scale here. If we were hopeful that this was a triangle, let me zoom out a little bit here. A, B, C, D, and E, and you make a 5-wave motion here. Obviously, I haven't looked at this chart in quite some time. I would like to say maybe we were wrong, like on Bitcoin. Same exact kind of theory, honestly. That will be the first 5 waves in wave 1, right? So like we had on Bitcoin, this is the actual low of 4. And something to keep in mind in Elliott Wave is, I think, something we talked about earlier on. That's why this line is here. We talked about it in the Discord. If you click that, it's a 1-to-1 measure of that leg. If you do that 1-to-1 measure, guys, that's a wave 5 to wave 1 being perfectly equal in value nearly. That means that that could easily be our cycle top for XRP, and now you're looking for a 5-wave pullback, right? So this would have been wave 1 of wave 5, and that's why this guy is here waiting for a wave 2. Now, I'm going to delete this for now to clear up the chart, and I'm going to keep that as my primary. This means XRP will at some point, I'm not going to worry about this wick, it is fucking hideous, at some point make an A, B, and a C. I do think this will come down deep enough to scare all the pleasant little holders out who think Brad Garlinghouse is going to reach out to them and give a shit, okay? This is a good area of liquidity stacked up here. Excuse my cough. Maybe at some point we bounce up to touch that in the B wave, but I will say for now my primary is the deep cut where we get sub-dollar XRP back on the table. So you'll see a lot of people, not in my Discord, but throughout the internet, that had rode up this amazing 5x gain. And even now, they're still looking at a 300% gain, but they won't take $1 off the table. Even though you're going to go ahead and give back on average about 74 to 80% of that. And really, at that point, most will shit purple seahorses and sell out anyways, right? So the wave 2 is going to be scary as shit if it does come. So get yourself together in your mindset if you're a hodler, because our bear markets are made for 90% or more, right? And that's depending on your altcoin, right? That's a bare minimum cut. That's like someone break and enters your house. At least someone's going to get hit in the mouth here, right? Like you've got to understand that these markets are made to beat you up and take your money. All right, Angel wants me to look at Aster. Let's get that on the list. I've been very vocal about this in my community to stay very hands-off. You're not here to just keep blindly buying the dip. We don't buy the dip. We don't catch knives. You look for emotion and you buy a pullback with a hard invalidation. Also, you add to this equation probability shift points. Those come from a Fib retracement, right? As soon as you start to lose this amazing, sweet little golden pocket and really shift market structure and lose a 786, you've already taken the liquidity out of the internal fair value gap left behind. You're moving for external liquidity and likely to roll the lows at that point. This is how you manage shit. Not with hope. With numbers. Alright, let's move on to the next thing. Alright, that's XRP in a nutshell. Let's go to VELO. Happy you asked this one. I have personally been charting it for quite some time. Very bearishly. This is something that was shared on Twitter. This is something that was shared in the Discord community. I can tell you I caught a lot of shit on Twitter for this one. Everybody said it can't be. I am fully anticipating that it can be. That we are looking for this leg down, right? So on VELO, we are looking for a move to 0.4661 all the way down to 0.2632. Now, the thing about diagonals is after you've lost the diagonals contraction lines and you find them basically as resistance like you have here, the most common thing to do, like we talked about earlier, even on our Bitcoin chart, I'm going to do this so we can get at least some price action on the tip, is that the most common thing to do is fall to a 786 and scare the shit out of people. Change the algorithm, change the probability of what people are looking at. So in my opinion, this is what I am looking at for Velodrome, okay? Not super stoked on it. I'm just going to continue to sit on my hands. You can see we had amazing. We had sound like Goldmember from the movie Amazing Reactions. At the 618 and 786, I don't see why we wouldn't roll this into our most common area of interest, if not a quick wick to the 786 and a reversal, okay? This is the thing, though. This is why I enjoy the community with my people in Discord. This was a three-wave motion up, gang. We sounded all the warnings, right? I even think we were talking about it up here, right? So you had every opportunity to avoid a 70% crash on your bags. Come on in. The water's fine, I promise. You will love it. It's a great Discord community, all full of people who want to work together, grow together. There's no attitudes. There's no egos there. Come on in. Check it out. All right, so that's VELO. We got XRP done. We got VELO drum done. Let's move into FARTBOY. Now, I don't know. Do we have anybody here from the FARTBOY community today? Anybody? I saw Camilla. Let's see if you're still there. It sounded more like Little Nicky. That Popeye's chicken is fucking awesome. That movie is hilarious. The dude with the coconut boobs on top of his head, and when the old boy catches the pineapple, I lose it every time to this day. Thanks for letting me know. I'm gonna have to watch that movie tonight. That'd be hilarious. All right. All right, so let me try to get my focus back here. Is there anybody in the house from FARTBOY today? Do we have any FARTBOY holders in the house? That's our next chart. So the thing that I want to cover on FARTBOY is twofold, okay? There's two parts to this chart. One comes from XC and one comes from us going to the DEX screener. Now on the DEX screener, as far as I last looked, we hadn't made another low. You said, yeah, but I identify with the surfing community. You're hilarious. All right, sorry, I need a sip. I'm getting dry mouth here. All right, so one is on the DEX screener, one is on the MEXC chart. Let's get those both up right now. Let's talk about the differences in the chart and what we think may or may not be going on, okay? I want to stay here on a daily. Let's delete everything so we can just chat really quickly. Let's find ye old DEX screener. Pop it right up and look at FARTBOY. All right, where are you, FARTBOY? Look at that, my top searched coin. Let's check it out. All right, this is basically what we covered in the Discord live stream. So I'm going to leave this one up just so we could talk about kind of what we have here, right? So we'll come back to this, but we're going to start on the MEXC chart. So this is the correction in which I was super vocal about what we had going on here, right? The first thing was just a three-wave motion to the upside and an ABC. At that point, we said, you know what? Maybe we can chain more corrections together. Maybe that was it. We'll know more by when this comes down. Again, you make another move, A, expanded B, into a C wave. These were 5-3-5 movements, resulting in a W, X, Y. Now, if you're lucky, the WXY can sometimes be some part of a larger A into B into C, if you are lucky. Now, I would say this is the world's most ugly B wave, but it's the world's most ugly everything. I think it's very choppy. Everything in it looks like some shit of a three-wave motion down. I'm not going to waste all my time on this. So what I'm going to do is stick to our new style, expanded B template that we teach, and go from low to high. We'll go back and fix that click. And you'll notice that we lost the 105, came to the most probable area of expansion of a B wave, which is the 1.236 through 1.382. If at any time this region is lost, and this 1.618 is hit on FARTBOY at 0.737, meaning it's now under a penny at that point. It's lost the 1.382. It's lost the penny stronghold. That is kind of a big de-risking moment, right? For people to understand that this kind of shape, this arcing to the downside where everything is just constant chop and chap, nothing's coming out of it, eventually does lead to some displacement. Now, I don't know what this will be. I'm just speaking from a charting perspective. Now, if this is to hold, it is to not lose that probability shift point that we talked about. Then you could talk about more to the upside in an ABC. This is where you're getting kind of a very strong 5-wave motion to the upside more than likely. This would get the people going, right? This would make everybody say the low is in. We are going to $4. It has to happen, right? Instead, they would be buying up all of this. They would buy up all of this. They would buy up all of this. They'd buy up all of this. And then what would follow after an expanded flat is a very sharp rejection to the downside, in which taking this low would be the most probable scenario. Now, how that price action builds off of these lows is where we're at right now, right? So the chart is very different on MEXC from this point to where we find a corrective low versus when we go to this chart and we have a low, excuse my magnet, we have a low, but not a new low, right? So then we put a base channel on from low to high, and we saw amazing reactions at the center line with rejections in the Discord, right? You lose this low, market structure breaks. This is a corrective motion. You're more than likely going to sweep the lows, right? And we talk all the time about if you hit the not double seven, Camilla, you invalidate the expansion of the flat. Even touching it, losing the 1.382 at those levels shown already tilts the scales enough to say it's likely not an expanded B wave. I'm likely going to get punished. Does that make sense? Right? So these are like big oh shit levels. So stay focused. Watch those price values. You can see how the chart is different here on MEXC. What I want to point out to you, though, at this point is you have to try to find some winkle of hope that you are starting something right. So an Elliott wave, your count must begin from an inception point or 0. My count on this chart cannot begin from here because there was a new low. So it has to begin from here. Now, when you look at something starting to the upside, it has to either start in a traditional 5-wave motion or a diagonal. Yes? Which we've covered in depth in this stream about how it must be contracting, blah, 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 blah. Right? So this looks like neither. Right? If you were somehow lucky and you tried to bullshit, this is a diagonal, you still need a wave 4, a wave 5, and then you need a deep 786 pullback that would likely eat up half the liquidity in this wick. So why buy this zone, guys? Why buy the bear paw? Right? Do you see the bear reaching up? Roar! Big claws, right? Sarong's crown, whatever the fuck you want to call it, doesn't look super kosher. It looks fucking pissed off. Like, this is not the one to go for, right? Let the range happen. Let the confirmation happen. Come back later. That's my opinion, right? Who cares if it jumps up, then comes down, then jumps up, then comes down? This is the zone you're buying anyways. It takes out all that liquidity, right? That's just my opinion, right? Safer in these situations than sorry is often the way to go. But that's just my opinion. All right, let's keep on riding. So that's FARTBOY. Does anybody have any other questions over that now? No? All right. All right. Our next coin that we were going to cover. Ted A. Are you in the stream today, my dude? Are you in here? I got a message from you. I think it's you. If it is, come on in. Say hello. All right, so the next thing that we have here, guys, is going to be XVG. I have a couple requests for this one. This is something I may have looked at in the past, but not in a very long time. Of course, I'm going to look at the pair first, and then we will go look at the all-time like you suggested. hot hands in a dice game. This is an ugly chart. All right. Let's zoom out. Let's see what we got. Is this it? All right, let's go look at your other chart to get your all-time. That is market cap. There it is, all-time. Yes, all right, better. All right, so I will say, unless this has some more history, which when I look to the left, we'll find out. I think that's an ABC. I think this, to my blind little eye, looks like some sort of 5-wave motion. You might even have to bullshit this over here. I don't really give a fuck. Somewhere in here's a fucking 3. We'll just put it there. It looks great. Fucked up just like that one. Oh wow, looky there. That makes sense now, eh? All right, so if this guy here is an ABC. Can you make that math make sense? Let's find out. All right, so in an ABC, the most common thing to have happen is to take the lows of A, right? You've done that. You've achieved this result. The next most common thing to have happen is make it to the 1 through 1.382, which we didn't on this scale. Now, this being a weekly, I would like to look at the linear also just to see what we have going on here. Motherfucker. All right, so this totally goes to hell when you try that. I've got to be honest with you. There always is a potential when you're buying at a chart's kind of baseline like this that you do see some sort of reversal. But I would say with this being nothing but a 3-wave motion to the upside here, it really concerns me that these are corrective also. Let's delete everything. Let's go back to log. Let's turn on volume. Oh, that's right. It won't work on this. Let's see who's got the best volume and chart so far. Apparently, we've charted this one before. All right. Volume. There we go. All right. Every time you can see this high accompanied with this wick of volume, this is your opportunity to leave the project, in my opinion. These are 3-wave motions that end on taking the liquidity out of the market. My concern now, in what we can see very clearly here on the weekly, is this move that looks like a 5-wave motion down, right? And some sort of choppy correction, and the potential that this could displace. Nothing about this gives you a real high probability setup. It's definitely not something I would be going after. That one was Binance. And this one's got the same thing it's telling you. Because you can't bullshit this into a diagonal, right? This would be expansion. This is bigger here than here. And the corrections would be bigger. It completely doesn't have the look of a diagonal. I wouldn't want to call it that. I would rather say that's a corrective motion up. Now you're going to give these some sort of partner leg displacement to the downside on that one. FARTBOY, what's up, Donovan? Nice to see you in here, my man. We just covered FARTBOY in depth, dude. We did it on the MEXC chart and the deck screener, dude. The deck screener for FARTBOY is where your most hope is, right? You just need to hold market structure. You start to lose these lows, man, at not point whatever, what is it? Not point not 1214. I really think you see what sub penny looks like, in my opinion. All right, sorry again, I'm sick trying to push through here. That's XVG. Let's look at Chainlink. This is something we've been on about in the community for a little bit. We're looking for more downside. I subjectively also side with this due to the arcing. Usually after arcing, that's displacement. So I believe this is your first leg down. 3-wave correction up. We're looking for strong displacement, a range, and then another low, and possibly another range and another low when we find the target box. Now, I don't want to be the guy that says this thing's going down to nothing. I don't think that's true. I'm not saying that it's going to go all the way down to this target box. I'm very open to a different style correction. But I would say that it's getting very hopeful, right? That this is 3 waves. I really have a hard struggle in this being 3 waves outside of the math of it. The looks of it with the chopping here and the chopping here and the one more low definitely makes you want to side with an Elliott Wave style correction in like an A or a 5-wave motion, which would result in a wave 1, 2, displacing 3, 4, and 5. The most common thing to happen would be coming for this liquidity. But I would really like to hope we see that support by the $7 box, right? I would really like to see that. We have both math aligning for a $7 support. We have a channel center line support around the 920, 940 range that I'll be watching for on Chainlink. But I think overall it is charting bearishly for this correction. All right, let's go look at yield Bitcoin. Because that, like we said, right, was going to give us all the hints. And look where he's at today. He or she, whoever the king or queen wants to be this day. That is a base channel, gang, right? You lose the base channel on Bitcoin, and you start to really displace to the downside. And the longs will get punished, right? This will be the fucking end of Bitcoin longs pretty soon. You will have seen people buy every dip and run out all their money, right? The bears will be in full control if this area is completely shattered, right? You start to throw away the probable scenarios, right? The first probable scenario was this, oh, it's 1, 2, 1, 2. We're looking for a smaller 1 into 2 and another correction that really displaces. Or are we watching this diagonal where you've got 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5, and you want 5 to remain smaller than 3, right? If that doesn't happen, you're screwed, man. And this right here is where I sound the alarm in the Discord to everybody. Was on October 10th saying what I'm doing. And dude, ever since then, 23% down on Bitcoin. That's incredible. You could have really saved yourself some money. In the Discord, we do a $20 a month subscription. We have our own community indicators producing amazing results. We have multiple technical analysts, 5 of us, some doing just options trading for you, showing you how to run those plays and calls, some covering all the markets, right? We're covering it all for cheaper than your Netflix subscription. And in that, you get a one-on-one session once per month with me as a technical analyst who sits down with you, talks to you about where you want to go in trading and how to get you there faster for $20 a month. Out of your $20 a month, we get $17. That's it, right? Chump change. But we do this because nobody was there for us when we were coming up. So we're going to be there for you. Even in the bloody red days, even in the green days, I'm always here. I'm sick, I'm still here. I'm on holiday, I'm still here. I don't turn my back on my people. You're number one, right? All right, let's keep going. We hammered out Link. Let's do ICP. Now, I am not pushing ICP. I am not saying to buy this. I have not looked at this chart. Let's go check it out. All right. When you get a chart like this, excuse me. Excuse me, I'm battling this thing. So when you get a chart like this, a lot of times it was a 3-wave motion for liquidity, right? So it's exaggerated a lot of times to make sure it gets all of it. I think that's why you reached up so high. I also think that is why, click this guy, you got that stop or body closure at that 1.68 region, okay? I think it was a move for liquidity. I'm not buying this. I'm not saying we should be buying ICP. I don't feel that yet. If at any point that mood shifts, I will let the people know in the community. But that's a good rejection from a 786. For now, I would stay sidelined on the daily. You have no real movement here telling you to go for this, right? Like in the least bit. I don't know a sweeter way to say that. Now, if we try to look at technical analysis classically, let's just put a base channel on and see if we have any reactions to this guy. So you had some sort of reaction at a center line, but to stay bullish in this game, what would we have wanted to see, gang? We want to see a motion where we leave a base channel, we find support, we make one more high. This is the part of the equation you're lacking, right? And as soon as you lose a 0.5 to the downside, you shift probability away from ever seeing this leg. And you've already done that. Okay? So I'm not telling you it can't come up. I'm just telling you probability says, right? So that's the biggest thing. No one knows what the charts are going to do. No one's predicting what the charts are going to do. We're looking at probability. Okay? All right. So that's ICP. Again, no interest. If you could get this on a daily to go ahead and give me one more motion, happy days. Then you'll get me to come back. A divergence here on volume would come in. Means bullshitty volume in the fifth. You would likely at the same time have a divergence on your RSI, meaning RSI comes up, doesn't make a new high, divergence, right? So these are the things that we'll be looking out for there, but as is right now, really no interest. Let's go into a 4 hour and see if we can try to gain interest here for a scalp. Again, this is super high risk. Please do note that. Let's go to the hourly. If you want to do a scalp, this would be the time to try is a wave 4, right? So let's place a base channel on the micro 1 hour because you're okay with, missing out on a low time frame move to catch the higher probability move, right? Let's put some liquidity on here. So we have a bullish order flow candle here with a little bit of indecision in its body build right below the internal fair value gap left behind. What I would like to see is this to move up, right? Maybe this a little local 4, moves up for a 5, steps back and makes a bigger correction. Maybe then I could have some interest, but we need what we keep looking for is this classic Elliott Wave 5-wave shape. We need this fifth high. Let it happen. And at that time, you look for divergence on volume and RSI like I've shown you a million times. That results in a momentum divergence, and you go for it from there. I will say that this price action has left a base channel that highly lends itself to being a wave 3 reversal versus an ABC, right? So an ABC likes to stay in a base channel, stops itself here, maybe peaks out a little bit. It doesn't go past 1.618. This is a wave 3 of sorts, right? So if you're someone buying right now, you're buying in hopes to make this 6% move for the expansion, right? For this displacement. Now, if you haven't bought yet, the best thing we can do a lot of times is allow that expansion to happen and then play for that range that looks just like this guy. But what'll happen is because in Elliott Wave, you look for alternation. So if we have 1, 2, 3, we look for 4 and a 5. This was a deep wave 2. This was a deep wave 2. We look for wave 3 to expand and displace, give long-bodied candles. Then we look for wave 4 to pull back. Excuse me. When wave 4 pulls back, that's when we get alternation, meaning instead of a deep, scary correction, you get more of a sideways correction because the market's stronger at that point in time. So I would say, in my opinion, ICP is opening itself up maybe for the spot trader who has, let's say you know you're boxing with around $1,000 weight right now. You put $100 in the machine here, and that's it, right? And then you put $100 in the machine here, and that's it. And then you wait to see how our three-wave motion goes. So you're only 200 in out of your 1,000, right? So we're only 20% in the game here. We still have 80% investing power to sit on for if we get that bigger correction. This just gives you the tickle the tip, so you don't have to get so anxious that all the time you're waiting. Oh God, I need a taste of the action. I didn't buy anything on this dip. I'm gonna get left behind. I'm an idiot, right? Just taste it. Just get in there, see how it feels. Get out. We'll figure it out as the time goes, but know that this is a probability shift point when we leave a base channel. Okay, so I think you could be making an okay decision going for that extended third wave, and that you might catch a bigger pivot. But again, something like this on an hourly 4-hour, I'll keep very up to date if you would like in the Discord, and we can cover that in depth there. All right, that's ICP. All right, let's move on to Aster. What is up, Sten the man? You said, can we cover AERO? Yeah, let's look up AERO. I haven't owned AERO in a very long time. We were very open about that in the Discord. I don't know about everybody else. If I have any members in here who also unloaded their AERO when I did, but we, across the board, I'm pretty sure we all took profits. Andy, that's the sweetest thing you could say, man. Thank you. You love the Discord and it keeps you calm. I hope it is helpful. You know, having a group of like-minded individuals behind you will really help cut down on that learning curve and really give you a whole audience of people that you can talk to in the hard times, right? You can run those charts by. You can say, hey, man, am I seeing this? Or do I just want to see this? Okay, let's go look up Aster. I don't know where this chart's the best. This isn't something I've looked at in a little bit. Let's go. Zoom, zoom, zoom. We're going to the moon. Woo! I don't know if anybody remembers this, but we drew this in a live stream. And it was about how we reject often from areas of liquidity. Right? So you have an internal fair value gap here. And that internal fair value gap was made by the displacing candle down. You came up to here. You did not close the internal fair value gap, right? You left some behind. When you did that, you came up into it and rejected and cleaned it out. Came up into it, rejected and cleaned it out. Came up into it, rejected, cleaned out 50% of that. This is not a super bullish chart, right? Excuse my allergies or sickness. I feel like I'm dying right now. All right, so in Elliott Wave, we look for two ways to start an impulsive reversal off of a low. In this scenario is two ways. One is a standard 5-wave impulse followed by a 3-wave pullback. You may be able to bullshit your way through this to say maybe, right? Maybe. Maybe it even is here, but it should always be the highest high. So this is hideous, and maybe that's it. But again, you would need this to be 1 into 2 again. Here, meaning structurally, Aster's looking to die if it loses $1, right? It's looking to take these lows. It's really looking to put in a deeper correction. I don't know if there's an older chart for this, but as of right now, this is an 8-hour. This doesn't look super good. Now, is Aster like something that's on a deck screener also? I don't know. Let me know in the chats, friend, if you have more over this. Maybe this has more history. Yeah, nothing more here. This kind of like rounding up. If you're lucky, sometimes it results in something, but often it's a swing failure pattern where you make a 3-wave motion up and poop. My largest concern is that this motion is something starting to the downside into a 1 into 2, 1 into 2, 1 into 2, likely 3 into 4, 3 into 4, 3 into 4, right? Another, this guy, 3 into 4, and then it gives you one more displacing move. Overall, it's definitely not something I'd be interested in. Let's put a little bit of math here. Let me know in the chats if this is the right chart. Yeah, this is, it's grandma's sick, right? Like, you could not even have seen the deepest cut yet. This could really just push down again. You likely need to be on other aspects so you don't get negative values. Yeah, this is exactly where I would stay. I would look for this zone, this area of interest on Aster. What's funny is someone hit me up the other day and told me, hey man, you really helped me out a lot. You sent me a chart on Giga. I don't even know what this shit is, Giga Chad. That's how you knew it was in trouble. And he was like, you charted it. You told me that it looked bearish. And it did, man, and it rejected. I want you guys to see this. This is the chart. Let me go get you the reply that he sent to me. And I think it's absolutely phenomenal to see when you get to help somebody out, okay? It fills my heart with happiness. Let's go take a peek. Here it is. So way back here, at the price action of 0.2423 on GigaChad, I told him, look at this, man. You're running into RSI resistance trend line. You're building a very corrective motion towards the upside. You're in the corrective box. This is hard invalidation. We're looking for a strong move down from 0.2423. Let's go ahead and measure that together. 0.24. This is on the right answer. Make sure. That's wrong. Okay, just let me double check. I want to make sure we do this right. 2423. 0.2421's good enough. You could have avoided an 85% loss, right? And we're not even to the target box on Giga. That was an 80% loss, if not a 94% loss, that I helped this person with to avoid. It makes my heart full of happiness to know that, right? That's why I chart this stuff objectively for y'all. That's why I don't care about how I feel. That's why I don't trade with you guys' money. I trade with my money, my strategies. I don't give trade signals. I just share my opinions, right? Because let's all just share our opinions and grow together. All right, Aster's shot. I'm not really into it. Let's go look at AERO really quickly. Where are you? AERO, my little friend. All right. This is something that we talked about in the Discord, so you can see we broke this shit down in depth in the live stream as to why we sold the other day. I had bought here, here, and here. My DCA was somewhere in this zone. I ended up selling everything here, made great profits. In my opinion, the chart screwed itself. Everything about it became a corrective motion towards the upside after. I think that this was 3 waves up and a correction and 3 waves up, and then ultimately the possibility of a new low comes in, especially when we do a retracement like this. I don't want to try to claim that this is a diagonal, because you would have some sort of expansion here. That's a very clean 5-wave motion. Because of that, that alone is likely a partner leg there, or 5 waves to end. Maybe this guy is a partner leg and this is its correction. Regardless, it was not an impulse up, so we sounded that alarm in the Discord and tried to get everybody out when we could. All right, let's keep on going. How are you guys liking this stream? Is this going all right for you guys? You guys like the style? You like the setup? All right, let's keep going. Let's go through CRV now. But yeah, I haven't been bullish on that in a super long time. And then we'll do SUI. I don't know why you like me looking at painful charts for you. Zcash will be after that. The other day I was feeling like I should short Zcash, and I think I might have said a couple things about it in the Discord. Maybe, I don't know. I'm pretty bad at leaving hints, but we'll see. All right, let's go look at CRV. First, I have been bearish on CRV for an incredibly long time. This is subjective arcing towards the downside. Often, this chip choppy leads to displacing. Not something I'm super interested in. Again, here, this was a three-wave motion towards the upside to take your money. It ends on high volume, right? What you were hoping for, gang, was that this was a wave 4 and that it made a high in the 5 and then a pullback. You didn't get that, right? We didn't finish the Elliott Wave move. Instead, you made a three-wave motion that ends on high volume. Look at it. Look at that. Vertical line shows you very easily they screwed you. Yes? They pumped it. Every one of these, they pump it with volume to get your ass to buy and screw you. Whether that's false volume or real, it doesn't really matter. But yeah, this is bullshit. The next thing you do with things like this is you put an idiot box on it and go from the high to the low of that range and tell yourself, why am I interested? This is literally a game of liquidity at this point. After a three-wave motion, the most common thing is a really deep three-wave motion, right? Why would this stop here? Most common thing would be to sweep these lows. Give this a partner leg that gives a deep correction downwards. So a leg, a connector, now looking for a partner leg to the downside. This could easily expand, right? Even a wick to not 0.1124 is feasible here. You're about to lose the golden pocket that you had your initial reaction to. You can see that very clearly on the wick here, right? See that reaction to your golden pocket 618? It's beautiful. It's amazing. It's reacting with your fibs. It's rejection with a pin bar off of 236. It's twerking its way down these things like Cardi B on a runway, right? So what's most probable? 1 through 1.382. And to take the lows of the inception or first leg, and its partner leg likely takes those lows, moves into this zone. If you lose 786, which is at 0.2759, your probable thing is to come to the expansion zone with a wick, right? So you're looking at 13 cents to 11 cents on this thing. So enjoy the pain, baby. Woo! Buckle up. Ride that donkey. Here we go. CRV is off the list. Let's move on to SUI. You're not going to like what I have to say there either. This is something that was shared in the Discord community, so I don't understand how anybody missed this. But that's an ABC. This is a clear standard 5-wave motion within your C leg. It had displacement. In my opinion, this was the writing on the walls. You have a divergence here on the buyer volume as it presses up into the highs. I would only like to argue that you may likely have that on on your RSI here. You also have a divergence. So it's hard, right? This is it telling you warning signs. All right, so we're looking for this to give a partner leg to the downside, right? Same concept as what you just talked about in your last chart, a deep cut that brings everybody right to the edge. Then you sell out, right? You punk out. So let's get you to the 1.1 through 1.382 in this zone that we're showing here, down to possible 1.618, or even lower, depending on what the macro chart has in mind, right? This is very limited history with only a 3-wave motion towards the upside, and it's not going well, right? All right, let me see what we have next. Again, I've been very open and honest about these both. All right, let's go to Zcash. That's the last thing that I think we have here. Pain City. Yeah, dude. All right, so Zcash is the last one that I got. And this is one that is a motherfucker. It just keeps going. It just keeps going. I do get weary of this guy because of older cycles where I've seen it do stuff like this and then crash after. So this is not one that I'm super open to chasing. I have seen in the past where somehow, some way, sometimes your wave 1 looks like a 3-wave motion, and that's often because of an extended fifth. And then this could be our correction here. That's what I'm charting right now, and that's what I want to be open to. So I'll show you how I do that. I go from low to high to the low of that correction. The next most important thing is some sort of base channel, right? So we go to the low of that correction to the high of the first leg up. We see that we leave a base channel and we go up. Now is really, in my opinion, not the time to buy. The time to buy is into retracements. So, right, even this looks, in my opinion, like a 5-wave motion inside of a possible wave 3, right? I really want to be open to that. Let me check linear really quickly. Nope. All right, so if this is true, what I want to see now is some sort of wave 4 that may match the time of this wave 2, right? I'm also open to this being the correction or even ending here and a really messed up thing comes off the low. But overall, looking to enter in that range of 4 is going to benefit you highly. So what I would do is take a low to high measure, and I would continue to tell myself I have little to no interest until I see 0.236 through 0.5. And what I'm looking for is that zone not to be lost. And I'm looking for a 3-wave reaction to that zone as a possible wave 4, right? So when we zoom in on Zcash, this is something that I'm just staying sidelined on. And I kept saying, I'm open to a possible short here because why? Invalidation was close, easy. Invalidation was closer for the short than it was for the long. Now, it's very possible now that you could try to argue, well, this could be, starting a sequence again. Okay, well, if it does, it's going to give that one more high. It's going to stop this out, but ultimately gives a bigger opportunity, right? So if it stops it out and comes up, you're using simple math to see where this could go, right? I'm not saying it stops here. I'm just saying as a reference, why would you want to chase? Don't chase, let it happen. And then when it falls back after 5 up, maybe you can get involved. But the problem is your bigger count, right? So if you zoom back out again, we were waiting for 5 waves to finish a possible wave 3. So what if this is the 5-wave sequence that finishes that move, right? You finally make that extended target of a 2.236. Then you give the bigger 4, right? Regardless, for me, chasing in this zone of a wave 5 of something doesn't seem like the best thing to do. Waiting in time for some bigger correction is likely going to pay me much better, right? Especially when the correction was so long in time. Okay. Yeah, a lot of this looks like corrective stuff. It looks like all kind of 3-wave motions, in my opinion. Right? This looks like 3 waves down, and 3 waves up, and 3 waves down, and then you get started. Right? So if that's true, you're looking at this from a standpoint of 1-2 stacking. So in my opinion, it could very easily be 1-2, 1-2, 1-2. I probably should have put that one right here. We'd have to go pick it out. But let's check really quickly because you want each 1-2 stacking to get smaller. So if Zcash is making 1-2 stacking, you want each one to get smaller than the prior. And this is where you kind of fuck it up. So if you go 0, high, low, your next success of 1-2 is bigger. So that kind of does throw you off and doesn't make it to a wave 3. It's not a rule break, it's just a probability shift point, but this is a good 5 waves here. And then a pullback and likely another 5. So I'm going to stick with 1-2 stacking, even though it's a little choppy. And again, this looks like 3 4s coming in here. And I really think one, as a trader, would rather wait for that larger wave 4. So that's my opinion, what I would stay for on Zcash. All right. You couldn't accept it. Yeah, that's true. I've known you for years now, so I know what you're going to listen to. All right, hidden bull on SUI. It doesn't matter. Just worry about the math. Can I look at SEI? Yes, this is another one. Unless something's greatly changed. SEI has not made me feel bullish in a very long time. Look at these reactions to the one line. Absolutely amazing so far. Right? And to the channel. Look at this hourly reaction to this channel in one line area. That's good. All right, let's go look at SEI for you. So this should have been the fucking who asked for this? Who asked for SEI? Sten the Men. Let me write that down. SEI. Thanks for asking. My dude, you should be in the Discord. You could have saved your ass from more pain right here, right? This is a 3-wave motion. Ends on 5 waves. It's a 3-wave motion all day. It looks like shat. All right, let me back out of that. Let's go to a larger time frame here. Look at this, arcing to the downside. See this? Arcing to the downside leads to displacement. Let's go to the daily. Oh, looky, I got hooky. Here we go. This is all day a fucking correction, right? SEI, after making a corrective only 3-wave motion up, that comes to the 1 through 1.236 and a possible Y leg, was the fucking dead giveaway, right? This thing set you up to know it was time to get out, right? This was something shared in the Discord, I guarantee it. This is something I shared in my live streams, I guarantee it. The most probable thing is to take this low at this point. In my opinion, SEI looks set for a new low for sure here, at least on the daily. We'll go to the new style Fibs for support for this. This likely would, in my opinion, most probable zone is on the table. You've already hit a 90% retracement on SEI. You're looking for more blood. If you lose the target box, grandma dies, she doesn't come back from winter, Coinbase will likely delist her. Yeah, she's just grandma's screwed in that scenario. So be careful, please. All right, next one is you want me to look at FET. FET is not a whole lot different. This is the same issue here on FET. You can see it very clearly. It's a 3-wave motion up is all it ever achieved. After a 3-wave motion up, all we can do is measure support from low to high and speculate that that was a corrective motion up, right? Now one can argue and say, oh, well, it's in the golden pocket. I take a chance. Great. That should be your only first DCA offer that you give this. Now, as a DCA spot buyer, after you buy your golden pocket, I wouldn't buy again until at least 10% down, right? You can see that doesn't do anything for you here. I would not buy any more of this. I would just wait. Because the most probable thing after a 3-wave motion to the upside is to take the low, right? This is not an impulse at all. This is not wave 1, 2, 3, gigantic 4, and a huge 5th. It's highly unlikely due to structures, right? Even if you wanted that to be it, you have to form some sort of correction here to the downside, right? And this, that would be the hard part. I would hate to say it's a diagonal because a diagonal would make no sense here, as you would need a first leg and a diagonal, a pull up, and then another leg, and then you would have A and B and C eventually. This would have to be a leading diagonal, all in 5-way motions. This would have to be 5 and 5. And this would need to be 5, so you need one more low here. But you wouldn't want the 5th of the diagonal. You would really want it to stop here. That could be something, right? Just like Bitcoin. If you're lucky, excuse me. I feel like shit today. If you're lucky, it's a diagonal to the downside, and you can de-risk in the B wave before the C wave is made, right? And then in time, you know, you would have some hideous fucking thing like this come out of here. That would make everybody go nuts for it again. But for right now, I think that your best case scenario is holding in hopes of de-risking, right? I can't give financial advice, but you're at a bear market typical low range, right? You've already lost 90% of your investment, or at least 90% of the gains on the investment. And at this point, you're in the fucking thick of it, so you might as well stay in the water. But again, I can't give financial advice, right? You're really hoping for that retrace on Bitcoin. And that would be the de-risking point for those altcoins also. Okay? Does anybody have any questions over anything we have covered today? We've covered an awful lot of stuff. We've covered quite a few coins. We covered 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15 coins. So we covered a lot. I hope it was helpful for you guys. If in the future you need anything, reach out, but understand. Yeah, let me look at. Oh, we did look at link of Avin-Ashiv. Sorry, my glasses can't see that far. But I will go back and look at link for you again really quick, Fred. So this was covered much earlier on in the stream, so you're going to see a lot of squiggles and wiggles on the chart, my dude. So just bear with me here. Overall, the move we're looking for on link is down to around $7, right? Your next current support is 1170. After that, Chainlink support is around 940. After that, you're looking at $7 down to 480. These are the supports, okay? And earlier in the video, Avin Shavi is all that in-depth explanation. So I'll get that all timestamped for you. I always appreciate helping people, so thank you for asking. I hope it's helpful. As always, dude, come check out the Discord, Avin. I have the link in the bio. I have the link in the bio on my Twitter. I would love to chat with you more often, see what charts you're looking at, see what we can find together. I truly enjoy helping people, even in the hard times, right? So that's Chainlink. Again, I will timestamp that in the video, just like all the other altcoins that we've done so far, right? So if you have any questions after the stream, I will have it all timestamped so you can go back and see those values in case you missed any of the in case you missed any of the live stream, it'll all be timestamped for you later. So all right, any other questions, guys? Again, thank you guys for hitting the like button, dude. We got 14 likes today. That's really big. Even though I'm sick, we still had 55 people come by and see the stream. It's a good day for me. So again, I thank you all for coming. Do check out the Discord. Come on in, see what's up. We have some community indicators and other things that the community's been working on together. See what it's like to be part of something bigger and not have to navigate these seas by yourself. Cut down on the learning curve and come get involved. So thank you guys for your time. See you out there. Bye, everybody.